Hello and welcome to the Deep 3 podcast. This is your host, Matt, joined as always by Kevin, Sam, and John. How's your night going so far?
Good.
It's good.
It's all right.
The win for the Mavericks and the loss for the Clippers makes us very happy. Very, very happy, boys. So this episode is going to be a buy or sell week 1 overreactions. This is going to be very fun and entertaining, and I can only imagine the Paul George slander that will happen. So why don't we start it off? John, we're going to start it with you. Panic in the Bay. Warriors are a definite out on the NBA playoffs. Buy or sell?
I honestly, I'm kind of buying right now. I think they're definitely at least I'm gonna buy. I think that they look really bad right now, and they might get better, and they might be like a play-in team. It's just that Andrew Wiggins sucks. He's fucking terrible. That guy's garbage. He is really bad, and I don't know. I'm kind of out. We were into the Warriors when we did our rankings. We were like, okay, we trust him. It's Steph. I think Steph will be better than he has been because he is Steph. I just think this team is terrible right now. They suck. So I think that I do not trust them to be more than an 8 to 10 seed at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Sam?
We're buying. That's generous. 8 to 10. This is guaranteed 13 seed. What I'm seeing at this point. The only team that's going to be worse is sadly the Minnesota Timberwolves. We just never progress as a franchise. I just don't get it. And probably OKC because they want to tank at this point. The Warriors are just looking horrendous. And it's not Steph's fault. There's a lot of weight to carry when you're the best player on this team by a huge margin. There's a lot of shoes to fill for these guys. No Klay Thompson, no Draymond, so definitely a different side. But these aren't just you're not just losing games; you're getting blown out. There's no way that Steph can drop 60. Steph would have to drop 60 a night to be close. That's how bad this team is. So we're buying. There should be a huge panic right now.
Kevin?
I'm hesitant about this, but I think I'm lightly selling. I think oh my God, y'all freak out. I think they're way lower than I thought they were going to be. I was putting them at 4 or 5 seeds still. I think they're maybe high. The ceiling is a 7 seed right now. Ceiling 7 seed. But I think they still got Steph, who always comes out to play a little later. He just needs to get warmed up a little bit. He's coming off injuries, blah, blah, blah. They still got Draymond Green coming. He hasn't been playing, so that's kind of a big hurt to their defense, especially. And then I think Oubre is going to start to be a little more consistent, hopefully. He's going to warm up, not have 0-6 from 3 games or whatever he had. He's going to be a little more consistent and be a little more of an offensive threat that they need. But their bench is still absolutely garbage. And they still have a lot of problems. But I'm still not counting them out of the low-tier playoffs yet.
Fair enough. I will be buying on this. I think this all depends on how much faith we have in Draymond Green and if James Wiseman can come into his own. And that's a lot to ask for a rookie who, like John said on our last episode, has only played a few games. It's a lot to ask. It's kind of interesting. I don't really see it's funny because whenever we see the Warriors lose, it's okay, yeah, sure, whatever. But then whenever we see the Clippers lose, it's fuck you. Steph, he's gonna be fine. You just got to give him the time. I think we forget that he didn't play for a majority of the season last year. He's just got to learn how to play without Klay. I think that's kind of the biggest thing right now. He's got to learn how to play without Klay, and he's got to learn how to play without Draymond. And because of that, I am buying on the notion that they will suck pretty badly. Next one, John. New Orleans is not a playoff contention team.
Well, as we speak, they're down 3 to the undefeated San Antonio Spurs. Look, I think that the West is weird. I think that they're going to be I think they're a play-in team. This team is like got so much talent that they just, again, like they have a new coach. They haven't played in a while. They really fucking sucked in the bubble. I think they just like need to figure themselves out. And I think that like Zion again is just such a dominant force, offensively at least. And then like Brandon Ingram is looking really good this year, like even better than last year. I think that like this team is. I am selling really hard on this because I actually think they are a playoff contention team, almost certainly. And at the very least, a play-in contending team. I think this team is like gonna just need a little. Like I think all the teams are rusty, but I think they just need a little time before they get everything working together with some beautiful synergy in this group.
Sam, where you at?
We're buying. This team's not good. Like, it's just not a good team. Good. They have good players. Like, they have good players. Like, I'm not saying Zion's bad at this. Just a not good system, to be honest, because I don't really know what their identity is as a team. You have Alonzo Ball, who I did say was going to be most improved player, and he is degrading as fuck. This guy is not good. Not good right now. Not looking pretty. No different than his brother, but it's a different story. You picked up Steven Adams. You lost very talented Drew Holiday, who was perfect for the system, who was kind of foundation for their system. You picked up Eric Bledsoe, who we all know was not very good at all in the playoffs for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I just don't think they're going to be that good. I think they're going to be better than the Warriors. So with that being said, they'll be the 11th or 12th seed.
Kevin, where you at?
This is a tough one for me. I'm kind of in between both of these guys. I don't think they're a playoff contention team yet, like John, but I don't think they're going to be a 12-13 seed like Sam. I think they're hovering right around 10 right now. I think they need to flesh out some issues with their chemistry, especially. Made a lot of changes, new coach, new players. But I think they have a lot of good tools. Like John said, I think Brandon Ingram's awesome. I think Zion's awesome. I think they got a lot of good stuff going for them. So as long as they can figure out some rotations, figure out some game plans that work for them, I think they can get in around the 8th seed or so.
So you're going to sell?
Light sell. Very light sell.
I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell in this. I think we're a little bit low on the Pelicans right now, and I understand why. I get it, but I think the hate on Lonzo is a little bit too early. Last year, he was not that great. I absolutely agree with you. This year, I really like his shot. It looks much better from when he started out with that sideways fucking thing that took like half an hour to shoot. It's a lot quicker. It's a little better. It's what he needs. And he's still a pretty solid passer. That's all you really need from Lonzo. He needs to be able to shoot the ball and pass the ball to Zion. Once they finally realize that if I pass the ball to Zion, it's probably going to go in, we're a good team. Brandon Ingram's a fantastic player. I'm not as worried about some of the people here on whether or not they can be a playoff team. I think from how the West has been looking so far, I'm a little bit more worried about other teams than I am about the Pelicans, if that makes sense. So I'm going to sell. Going into the next one, Giannis is unreliable in crunch time. John?
I really hate to say this because it feels so hot takey, but like I'm buying. He just like can't. The thing is like every team in crunch time knows like we just need to foul him, and then he's gonna clank at least one of the free throws. Like, and that's just been the case because he has not developed. He just has not developed enough as like a shot maker in different areas of the floor, even as a mid-range shooter, where like you can reliably trust him to create a shot in like such a, I don't know, like condensed time when the defenses are all going to collapse in on him. He's one of the most dominant players in the league. He could be dominant in clutch time, but it's just like teams that are like, okay, we'll foul him, and then he's going to miss the free throws, and then he does. Like, so I don't know what is going on with him because he wasn't this bad at shooting free throws like a couple of years ago. Like, but it just like that one playoff series against maybe Boston or something. Like, just like derailed him as a free throw shooter. And I don't know what the deal is. So, like, I actually do think he's a little unreliable in clutch time. I actually think that, like, maybe Chris Middleton, it's good that he's there at least as, like, another option. Because, like, Giannis is, I don't know, he'll get there. I'm not worried about that. It's just, like, it's kind of like with Shaq in crunch time. Like, you know, he can either be dominant in that spot or, like, everyone will be there and they'll stop him from doing that one thing and then they'll foul him. So, like, he's just got to work on that. Like, I'm buying. He's unreliable.
Yeah, I might have to agree with John on this one, and I'm gonna step in, and I've actually kind of got a hot take. I do agree with John. This does sound a little bit hot takey. However, I think if Giannis cannot fix his shooting, I actually think he needs to play a little bit more like Ben Simmons. And the only reason for that being is because if in crunch time you're not able to make those free throws, if in crunch time you're not able to make those 3-point shots, you should not be the guy to hold that responsibility. And Ben Simmons has played, I'm not saying that he's better than Giannis at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if Giannis were to play a little bit more in Ben Simmons' shoes, then he could be even better. Because I think that one of the biggest things is he needs to work on his shooting, clearly. I think the biggest part is he needs to work on his free throw shooting. Because if you are like 100%, this guy's going to miss one shot, that is a tool to use against you. And if that's going to be the downfall of him, maybe he needs to work on more on his ball handling. Maybe he needs to be able to play that point player, not point guard, but like that point player who can be an incredible ball handler. And I'm shooting that right out of left field. I could be dead wrong. I don't care. Honestly, I truly do not care. But he's been a little bit unreliable as of late. So
I'll leave you on an island with that.
That's fine. I'll be on my island. It's cool. I get it. And you know, I understand that. At least I understand that I am way out of left field on that like opinion. At least I understand that is a very bizarre concept. But I'm kind of interested in it. I think it'd be kind of interesting, but I am very clearly the minority in this opinion. Sam, are you buying or selling on Giannis being unreliable in crunch time?
I think it's pretty easy unreliable when it comes to Giannis. I just think we've seen him even in playoff time. We don't see him under 2 minutes because A, he's either in foul trouble. When he has the ball in his hand, I don't like Giannis. I like him more of an off-ball scorer, someone that can slash. You get a pick and roll with him. That's like perfect for him. Because when you see Giannis dribble, it is a guaranteed turnover. I promise you that. Because his gameplay is very. Yes, sure, he has unstoppable getting into the paint, but his gameplay is very predictable. We know he's not going to shoot it because we don't trust his shot, to be honest. He's getting better, we get that, but we know that if I'm playing defense against Giannis, I can take a step back. I'll let Giannis take that three because I know he's not going to make that, to be honest. Anyone? But Giannis reminds me of late game Joel Embiid, where they keep trying to run the ball through them, and then they get so gassed that they can't make a good move. We see with Joel Embiid all the time. He gets so gassed. He has one of the best nights, drops 40 a night, and then he does silly things in under 2 minutes, and then they lose the game like that. So easy buy for me. I think he can get better, and he needs to get better. You know, he got the bag now, so he needs to show that he is the greatest player in the NBA.
Kevin?
I think also a little more light buy than you guys. I think y'all are hyping this up. I think just because he's bad at free throws, and I think he's always kind of been bad at free throws, doesn't make him necessarily unreliable. But I think it's rather that everyone, like you guys said, everyone knows what he's going to do when he gets the ball in his hand under 2 minutes. He's going to run straight up to the basket and try and like dunk over someone. And because everyone knows that, that's kind of makes him unreliable. But now I think that he has Middleton and Holiday together. I think that as long as he can get the ball out of his hand at the end, I think the Bucks will do fine. So I think he is unreliable, but I don't think that necessarily hurts the Bucks as long as they're aware of it.
And that's totally understandable. Yeah, 100%. Next one, the Brooklyn Nets, baby. This is a hot take if I am to say so myself. The Nets are the best team in the NBA? Question mark. John, are you buying this?
No, I'm not buying this. No, they look really good, and I will give them that. They might be the best team in the East. I think that we have to just defer to the Lakers as the best team in the league until proven otherwise. But like Kevin Durant looks exactly like Kevin Durant to me. He even actually looks good defensively, which is shocking. And like Kyrie is, it's just so easy to forget how good Kyrie is because he's such an ass. Like he's just so fucking weird that we forget that he's like, oh, it's actually because he's like one of the most creative ball handlers and finishers and most reliable shot makers in the league. Like he is really, really good. And as a combo, they look great. Like there doesn't seem to be any like conflict as far as like who's getting the ball at what time and like being able to share those responsibilities. Like they play really well together. Like this Nets team is really good and they're deep. Like they have Karis LeVert coming off the bench. Like this is a really, really good team. And I think now that we've seen Kevin Durant, if we were to do the rankings again, I have a feeling we would all probably put the Nets at the 1 seed, just now that we know that like this is what we're getting. Oh, I'm not buying on them as the best team in the NBA, but like they're up there. Like they're really, really good.
Yeah. Sam?
Yeah, if you told me last week that the Nets could be a good team, I would laugh in your face and slap you in the face at the same time. But with that being said, I would take your hand and slap me in the face because this is an easy buy at this point. Maybe not easy. I mean, redact that.
Yeah.
Not easy. It's a buy. It's a buy.
Yeah.
It's a buy for me. This team is a pure offensive juggernaut. Like, I don't think you can stop them, even if you're a Lakers roster, just in terms of how fast these guys move. Like their off-ball screening and just movement is like unreal. That's the one thing I loved about Kyrie. Like I love his handles and everything like that, but the way he moves off the ball is like a guaranteed basket. I promise you. And we all know that about Kevin Durant. Goes around the screen, mid-range J at that point, it's guaranteed in. And the biggest thing I like is actually Karis LeVert coming from the bench, that six-man role. People like to say you want to comp him to Ginobili. I hope he understands that role, that it's going to be very lackluster in terms of the pie you're going to get. I mean, this guy was dropping 50 points before when the superstars were injured, but this team is the 2007 Suns. That's what we're seeing right now. And I think that in this day and age, it's no different than that 73-9 Warriors team, in my opinion. So I think this team can be the best team in the NBA. So I'm buying.
Wow.
That's a hot take right there. My God. Show title right there. Sam thinks that the Nets are better than the Warriors when they were in their dynasty mode. Goddamn. Kevin, how you feeling? I think I know your answer, but I'm gonna let you answer it.
I'm a sell. Y'all are getting way too overhyped about these guys that have played the Warriors and the Celtics. Like, slow your fucking roll. Slow your fucking roll. KD and Kyrie are offense. What?
Okay, continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
KD and Kyrie are offensive juggernauts. Absolutely. The rest of the team, very good offense. I don't think they're the best team in the NBA right now. I think that's a gross oversimplification because I don't think we've seen them play a very strong team again for them. I think the Celtics are a strong team relatively, but I think they're a very bad team to go against this Nets team. Specifically, you have no one. Okay, Matt, who would you have guarding KD on the Celtics? Who would you have guarding KD?
Look. All right.
Look. Yeah.
You know what? Okay. Yes, the Nets are clearly dominant. But like the way that you're saying this, the way that you're debating this is very confusing to me because you're saying that the Nets, like, obviously you're a Lakers hype man. I get it. That's fine. We all had the Lakers at number one. It's like it's hard to go against them. But how are you going to do the Celtics that dirty? They are not a bad team by any means. They are not a bad team.
I didn't say they're a bad team, but
look.
I didn't say they're a bad team. I said they're a bad team to be defending the Nets. And I think that's a misrepresentation of other teams in the NBA that could guard the Nets. I think
I just want to know, is your answer for Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, aka like RC Cola, Kevin Durant, like fucking.
Oh, no.
Also, Kevin, you said that they haven't played a tough team. Well, guess what? The Nets are currently playing the Charlotte Hornets, and they're beating them by 2 points.
Exactly.
They got Gordon Hayward, Kevin.
Is he even playing yet, or is he injured?
No, Gordon Hayward's playing.
Playing.
Hayward's been good.
He's
Hey,
playing.
guess what? I'm buying on Gordon Hayward, motherfuckers.
Have fun.
This podcast is very easily derailed, and I do take blame into that. I feel like I take blame better than Paul George does against the Mavericks. Please let that be known. Look, I think Sam got me hyped on the Nets just then. I was going to say no. I was going to say clearly no. I might be buying on this. I might be buying on this, but it's like, it's not like the Mavericks versus the Clippers. Okay, this is not anything substantial in the slightest. This is to me personally, I think the Lakers, God, this hurts. This really hurts to say. Like, this really sucks because they're both such good teams, and I want to ride the hype so badly. I'm going to go with the hype. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to say the Nets are the best team. I think it's just barely the best team. Like Kevin, I do agree a little bit with what Kevin said. I want to see the Nets play teams like the Lakers. I want to see them play the Heat. I want to see them play the Rockets with James Harden. I want to see them play, the Mavericks. I want to see them play top tier teams. But I am overhyped on the KD train right now. This feels a lot like when he was on Golden State, when it was like, okay, KD's got the ball, so that's 2-3 points right there. No questions asked. The biggest question that the Nets have to answer the Lakers is like, I feel like AD is the man. I feel like AD is the man that can stop KD. Out of anybody in the NBA right now, I feel like AD is the person that will do it. It's such a hard thing, but I'm gonna ride the hype with Sam and say that the Nets are the best. I'm gonna start this one out with Kevin just because it's very on brand for him. Paul George proves the haters wrong and is worth the max extension.
Come on, tell us, Kevin. Tell us, Kevin.
Any team in the NBA right now is worse off with Paul George on their team.
Wow.
Period. That is what I believe. He's a toxic person. He doesn't take any responsibility. He always makes excuses, and he's the most inconsistent fucking player in the NBA. He'll hype you up one week, and you'll be like, wow, I'm going to sign a max extension to Paul George. He's so good. And then the next week, he does nothing. Absolutely embarrassing. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
John, do you agree? Are you buying or selling?
No, I have to sell because I saw what happened. Look, Paul George has a lot to prove now after he had a lot to prove coming in, and he has a lot more to prove now that we've seen what happens when Kawhi misses one game. This is embarrassing. It's like there's no way to go around it. Like, he was very good the first 2 games, and then he was straight up embarrassing. If you're a max player, that doesn't fucking happen to you. Like, you don't have a game like that where you set an NBA record for having the biggest halftime deficit ever. So no, Paul George, I'm selling on Paul George. I don't want, it's penny stock at this point. I could not be lower on Paul George. He has continued to be immensely frustrating. I try my best to be positive about Paul George, to be nuanced about Paul George, and then he does some stupid fucking shit like this. And it's just like, come on. Like, it's the people give Paul George sometimes like a leash that they'll give to like James Harden, where it's like, they're like, James Harden is also someone who like is a failure in the playoffs sometimes. And like, so is Paul George, like shit like that. But like, James Harden is actually like a really good player almost all the time. And Paul George is a good player for like a couple weeks at a time, maybe. Like, I'm out. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Like,
It's too much, man. It's too much.
It's too much.
Sam, do you agree?
Yeah, the only thing I'm selling more are Paul George's shoes at the Nike clearance. Paul George. I just feel like every podcast since we started back up for season 2 has just been something with Paul George, and nothing ever good about Paul George. Like, and I think it's showing its relevancy after this game. We saw that, like you said, Kawhi misses one game and it becomes a complete failure. Don't get me wrong. I think the Dallas Mavericks are a good team, but I think they're just good. I don't think they're a great team. They're, for what you call yourself as a superstar talent, as a team that's supposed to make the finals. I don't know what else you can say. I don't even know what excuse you can say. Doc Rivers, I don't even know what to say at this point, but I'm selling and I'm hyping Kevin on this. Kevin, anytime you need to roast Paul George, I got your back, okay? I got your back. Anytime, any day.
I'm going to agree with all of you. I think this is a pretty simple yes, or like, south. I think that's a very, very simple agreement that we all have right now. Fuck Paul George. On to the next. Don Demantis Sabonis makes an all-NBA team. Are we buying this, John?
I'm going to be totally honest with you when I say that I am buying this. I think that this guy is proven to be I think he's going to carry the Pacers to a playoff spot. Though Victor Oladipo does look actually pretty good right now. Not like what he was, but he looks good. But yeah. Sabonis looks awesome. Like, he's already, like, Jokic is in a tier of his own as a playmaking big, but like in the tier below him, like there's Sabonis. Like, he is a very good playmaker for his position. He's a very smooth scorer with like a pretty big bag of tricks to get a bucket. Like, he's not a bad defender. He's not like a great defender, but he's probably a better defender than Jokic too. Like, he's not better than Jokic. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like, I am buying on him as an all-NBA talent, probably like a third-team all-NBA, maybe if he's able to classify as either a forward or center, depending on where they want to fit him in. He looks really, really good, and he looked this good last year too. Like, I think he's just kind of coming into his own in a way with this team where they've decided, like, hey, you're the direction, you're the guy for us, and we're going to play through you. And, like, I'm all about him. He's fun to watch. Like, he's good.
All right, I like it. Sam, where you at?
I like Sabonis a lot. I think I really do like this Indiana Pacers team. I think they've just been always dealt a bad hand because they always get matched up with the Celtics, which is basically a guaranteed loss for them at that point because there's a huge mismatch issue. But I could buy this. I think Sabonis, I think just with the amount of talent, it's hard. It's like, who do you take out? Who do you put in? It's definitely going to be hard when you have like Kevin Durant coming back now. And, you only have 6 forward slots to fit in. But I won't be surprised if he is a 13 All-NBA. I think that's a fair estimation for him. And yeah, I'm excited for this guy. I think this guy deserves to be in a better system, in my opinion. I think I can say that for others. But I think this guy is some real talent, really underappreciated talent that we're seeing.
I agree with everything that's been said. I think third team All-NBA. I think he could make second team if he improves this season. I think if he improves this season versus what we saw last year, and he takes one of the main roles on that Pacers team, I think he could make second team. But I think very likely to make third team. I think he's a great player overall. I like watching him play. Like John said, he's just fun to watch. Like, he has so many different things he can do. And I think with the passing of that Pacers team too, he gets the ball a lot. And I whenever it's in his hands, I feel confident that they're going to score or do something positive. I love him. I think he's a very underrated, underappreciated big. And I like what he does.
Fair enough. Sabonis makes me want to watch Pacers games, and that takes quite a lot for me to do. So that's my answer.
Do you think that the Pacers would accept a trade right now, Sabonis for Paul George? Do you think they do it?
No.
No?
I think the Clippers would love for that to happen.
Yeah, that
only
was
benefits
a
the
lot of
Clippers.
hot takes.
Only benefits
There's
the
some
Clippers.
God
Yeah,
damn.
That's a hard one for me. I don't know. I feel like Paul George on the Pacers is extremely poetic, and just a tragedy on his life. But with how things are going right now, I feel like you got to keep Sabonis on your team. That's just my opinion. Sam, I'm going to let you start off with this one. Do you owe DeMar DeRozan an apology?
Look, DeMar, look in the camera. DeMar, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, you really showed me how important the mid range was for a team that doesn't have much scoring. With my San Antonio Spurs, we have a lot of guards. We needed your veteran presence, especially in this clutch time. I think he's more clutch than Giannis, but that's a whole different story that we can talk about on a different podcast. But DeMar DeRozan, when he shot a three against the Toronto Raptors, for some reason, DeMar DeRozan plays the best against the Toronto Raptors. I think there's just so much hate filled with it. Every time he plays, he just balls out like it's the best day of his life. And when he shot the three and drained it in like clutch time, I literally jumped off the couch. I was just like, oh my God, let's go. I haven't been that excited since, when I had my big three, balling out at that time. So, DeMar, I love you, but I hate you, but I love you.
Yeah, that's fair. Kevin?
DeMar has always proven us time and time again that he somehow can be a positive, although he can 98% of the time only shoot a two. But he can shoot a two from anywhere on the floor. And apparently sometimes he can make a really clutch three. DeMar is a weird character, and I guess I'm glad that he found a place in the Spurs that he fits well, or seemingly fits well now. And the Spurs are 2-0. Something's working.
Fair enough. John?
DeMar looks good. He's just really reliable. That he is exactly he's exactly what you think he is. No surprises from DeMar DeRozan, but he's a bucket getter. Like, that's what he does. And he's a better playmaker now than he was in Toronto. Like, he's a good player. He's just like not the guy you want to like build your team around. In that way, he's frustrating. It's frustrating that you get him when you had Kawhi. So like, I get it from that perspective, but he's like a good player that just gets a lot of hate because he can't shoot a three. And like, I'm sure I've given that hate to him. I'm sure I have, but it's just like, DeMar's good. Like, he's a good player, and it's just tough. He's just like kind of a relic, like a little bit, but he's good.
Yeah, I'll buy on that one too. Very lastly, and this is a two-parter, LaMelo gets labeled a bust by All-Star Weekend, and then sub, buy or sell, he turns it around like Trey in the second half. John, I'm going to start it out with you.
I think this is going to happen. I think all signs are pointing to this. The only thing that would stop this from happening is if people are like so enamored with the insane LaMelo highlights that are legitimately really cool, that they like kind of can look past how bad he is at like everything else right now. I mean, look, he's just not good right now. And that's okay, because it's hard to be a rookie point guard when you haven't even played basketball in like over a year. Like, so it's to be expected that he's bad, but like, he looks bad. And I wrote like, think Trae Young, because Trae Young, like, everyone called him a bust by like Christmas, because he was terrible. Like, he was really, really terrible the first half of his rookie year, and everyone was like, this guy sucks. And then for the other point, like, then right after the All-Star break, or like right in the new year, Trae turned it around and he was great. And like, I mean, like, for what he does, still terrible defensively, obviously. I think that LaMelo could potentially do that, because I think he's going to get all the opportunities in the world to do it, unless the Hornets are like really insane and are really trying to be a playoff team this year. Like, I mean, like, look, like, he has a crazy, weird, like, high ceiling. He's really talented, but I'm like buying on him being labeled a bust by All-Star Weekend, and then I'm buying on him turning it around, because like, he sucks right now. Like, he really sucks, but I think he has like the talent to be quite good.
Sam?
I'm gonna go buy as well. He's not good. He's not good, and I think we're not surprised. Maybe we are surprised. Just based off the background, the big baller brand. You got to be the third one is the prodigy of it all of it. But look, this guy's been everywhere. This guy's literally been like all across the world to play. Played in the shittiest parts of Lithuania. You can't even get into the arena. That's how bad the stories were. Like it was 2 feet, like 3 feet of snow blocking the door that no fans could get in. So it's just these like 10 dudes just playing basketball at this point. But I think he's going to be labeled a bust for sure, just the amount of expectations that people have. But I'm going to sell. I don't think he's going to be as good as like a Trae Young recovery. I think he's going to need a couple of years. I think he needs the 2-3 years. And I think it's just because there are too many guards on this roster. Like you have Devontae Graham, who plays very well, Terry Rozier. You have other potential breakouts with PJ Washington. Now you got Gordon Hayward. Everyone needs the ball in order for them to play. So it's going to be tough. And I kind of respect LaMelo in that he's not taking ridiculous shots. He's being very passive and understanding the team effort behind that, because all the teams he played for, he was the best player. Now he can actually defer to other guys to carry the weight for him. So I think he takes 2 years. So I'm buying and selling.
I am also buying and selling. I hope I'm wrong on this prediction, but y'all keep comparing LaMelo, be like, oh, is he going to be like Trae Young? Like, kind of like he's a good shooter. Like, he's going to do this. Is he going to get better? When you should be comparing him to Lonzo, his brother. He's going to be just like Lonzo. We all have these expectations for him. And then he comes out and is very disappointing. And year after year is just as disappointing to everyone. And year after year, people are like, he's going to get better. He worked on this. He's done X, Y, and Z. And then he comes out and does nothing. He's going to be a very mediocre player. I really think that. I hope I'm wrong, but he's played in foreign basketball leagues. Like, he should be at least somewhat good. Yeah, he hasn't played in a long time, but from what I'm seeing now, it's as if he's playing in high school. Like, it looks bad. The highlights look great. Those passes are unbelievable, but if that's all he can do, he's still going to be a very mediocre player.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, Kevin. I do buy and then sell. Not necessarily that I would compare him to Lonzo. I actually do think that Lonzo has possibly more potential. But I know
I wouldn't go that far.
I absolutely agree with that one. It's a hot take for sure. I'm a little bit nervous. I do see the potential. I do see the potential in LaMelo. Even if he has a few highlight clips, they're still there. Like, it's still impressive. It doesn't make it any less impressive. He has the potential to turn it around. I don't think he does, and I think that's partially because Rozier looks really, really good so far. I think he had an incredible first game, statistically speaking. Let me just pull that up for you. First game, he had 42 points. He even had a block. That's pretty fucking impressive for a point guard. I do like him a lot. It's just kind of like LaMelo. I think he got way too hyped. He might have gotten way too hyped. I wish the best for him. I really do. And I do hope he turns it around. And I'm kind of on Kevin with this one.
Y'all are some hating ass hoes. You guys, look, I'll admit I'm being a little optimistic that he would turn it around this year, because the thing that Trae Young had going for him is that he played a whole college season and he proved that he was a really like diverse and competent scorer. So like he did have that, and he just like needed to learn how to translate it to the NBA. LaMelo has not proved that he can do that yet. I get it. LaMelo is, you guys like are hating on LaMelo. He's got so much going for him that like could turn into a very good player, and like it might not happen this year, but like fuck Terry Rozier, like no. Like Terry Rozier, he's been good the first 2 games, and he was good in that Celtics playoff run, like that got him overpaid by the Hornets. Like it's just like, no, LaMelo is the future. He hasn't had the opportunity to play like legitimate, good, organized basketball, except for in the NBL. But then he got hurt and like was done. So I think like for me, I am all in on LaMelo turning it around, becoming a good player, becoming better than Lonzo for sure, almost, I think, because I think he's a more confident player. I think he's going to be a more willing shooter and scorer than Lonzo is. And he's just like a generational passing talent. And he has great size. Like, I think it's too soon to say that he'll be a bust, but I do think he'll be labeled one. I think LaMelo is going to be better than we're giving him credit for.
Okay. So I should be a little bit more specific. I am looking at this question as this year, as this season, not like future seasons. I do think he turns it around, like maybe next year, year after that, and he becomes the face of, maybe the Hornets or whatever team he ends up on in the future. I do think he turns it around that aspect. I'm just not sure if it's this year. So when I look at this question, I'm looking at it more of like what happens this year. I think he needs a little bit more time, but I do agree that he has that potential. He absolutely does. Sam.
So then, I think my last question: which ball brother are we taking in a? I want to build around this guy. Which guy are we taking?
D'Angelo.
John, I'm Jello at this point. I don't know what you're talking about. Kevin, what do you think?
I'm not building around a ball brother if you paid me. Like, are you serious? No. Okay, no way I'm building a team around a ball brother. I don't even I'm deferring. I'm not answering that question.
No, LaMelo is in a great situation to be bad because the Hornets are such a fucking garbage franchise that no one even really watches. Like, it's a good situation for him to learn how to play NBA basketball, which I'll admit, like, he doesn't really know how to do yet. And that's okay. But I think he's going to be the best of the ball bunch. He just has the most potential, like, out of all of them. And Lonzo's good. I actually like Lonzo. But I don't think I think that Lonzo might actually be like right about at his ceiling. Like, I think he's never going to be someone who averages more than like, he could be like a 12 and 10 guy, like a 12, 10 and like 4 rebound kind of guy and like a solid defender, which is a really good player. But I don't think that like Lonzo has star potential. I think that LaMelo still does have star potential. And I want to see like what'll happen if he can just have a year of experience playing in an NBA offense.
That makes sense. I would have to be on board with that one. If I had to build around somebody, I would rather build around LaMelo. I do agree with you on the Lonzo take. I do feel like Lonzo's kind of hit his spot. I think he fixed his shot, and I think that made him the best that he can potentially be. We'll see if that continues as well. Like for his passing, maybe his playmaking gets better because you're playing next to Zion and Brandon Ingram. Who knows? But I feel like Lonzo's potential is like right here, where he's going to be eternally like good, and then LaMelo's just kind of like up and down, up and down.
There's a very low floor.
Yeah, it's like super low floor, very high ceiling. Like that's just where he's at right now.
I just feel like Lonzo just never actually had a chance to be his own guy yet, where LaMelo actually has a potential. Like Lonzo had LA, which had trash. Like I won't lie there. It was not a good team, but they had like people who always need the ball. They had Julius Randle, who I don't think is good, but is someone that always had to have the ball in his hand. They had Brandon Ingram. Like he was part of this group of young guys, and I think Lonzo's cool with that. But he never had a chance. And now he's in New Orleans. Now it's Zion, and it was Drew at that point. And Brandon Ingram popped off now, so like Lonzo's not gonna have a shot there. But what if we think Lonzo goes to Chicago? He can be a true point guard on a team that doesn't have any sense of identity at that point. This is perfect for him. What do you guys think?
John, do you want to answer that?
It's quiet, very quiet here.
Fine. You know what? Beggars can't be choosers. If you're going to give me a person that knows how to run the fucking point, I guess I have to take him.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. He's not the saving grace of the Chicago Bulls, but would I rather have him over like Arcidiacono? 100%, no questions asked. God, the Bulls have way too many problems, and we can just make an entire episode off of that to begin with. But yeah, I'm kind of with Jordan on this one. That's rough. That's rude of you to tell us that. Oh my God. Any last notes before we end the show, guys?
Send Terry Rozier to the Clippers, baby.
Oh, Sam, you have a last minute quit.
I don't think there's enough money to do that.
I don't think there is. It would be, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the show, watching the show on YouTube. Like, follow, and subscribe. We're on all podcasting platforms, and of course, follow us on Instagram so that you can see the hot memes. And if you feel like arguing with 12-year-olds there, feel free. So then we don't have to. It'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching to the show, and have a good night. Peace out.
2 balls are better than 3.